Have you considered if there was a way to understand the heartbeat of the brand Pulsex, right? Because there's no quantitative way to do that currently, and it's just people's conjecture, fancy way for saying opinion on Pulsex and sharing their thoughts. I'm not saying that's not tremendously valuable, 100% is. But is there another way that is not currently out there to use data to understand what is actually taking place with Pulsex? And for any type of data person, right, you can compare Pulsex to itself in its time, right? Or you could compare Pulsex relative to something else. And so we're comparing it to Uniswap so that we get to track this over time to have a quantitative measure of what is actually taking place around the people's minds. How do we do that? How do we do quantitative data for millions and millions and millions of people? Well, there's something called Google Trends. Google is the largest search engine in the world. YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world, is also on Google Trends because they're owned by the same company, for those of you who are not aware. And they allow you to track search volume for, say, Pulsex versus Uniswap over time. So we took a look at all of that to get quantitative data from Google so that we can see how it's doing over time, as well as relative to Uniswap. And that is what we're going to cover in this video. So if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, what's up? It's good to freaking see you. Now, if you are returning, you haven't already subscribed, and you haven't already pressed the bell notification, what are you doing? This is the second or more time you've been here and you haven't already subscribed. Come on, bro. And for those of you who are new, what's good? It's great to see you. Hope you stick around. Now, to get a better idea of this data, right? We just pulled it from here. We pulled the last 12 months, the last 90 days, and the last 30 days. This is worldwide time period here and over the web or over on YouTube. Now, one thing to consider is the definition for the data, right? Because if you have shitty data, right, then you can't really understand it. Well, this is search volume history over the last 12 months. What does that mean? That is that the data is relative to the highest point of search volume during the period. And it's an average, right, relative to this time period in the region as in the worldwide. 40, right, versus 10. And to get a better understanding of this data, I think we really need to understand what is happening right now in this moment in time, because this is so powerful. This is really like we're in that moment and you need to capture this. So we're going to take a look at the data real quick, and then we're going to understand why that is why that's the case. Google, Pulsex, Uniswap, boom, data. We see that over the last 12 months, there was nothing for Pulsex, which makes sense, right? Pulsex just launched about 6 months ago in terms of the nuclei of society's mind. It was not an idea that was unleashed. It was this virus of an idea wasn't in the wild until 6 months ago. So we had to keep that in mind. And you go from nothing at the 12-month mark, effectively, on average, to being talked about, from nothing to people who are searching for you on the largest search engine in the world relative to the largest DEX, which is Uniswap. The gargantuan DEX, the decentralized exchange, the $1 billion plus a day in transactional volume DEX, over $400 billion a year annualized company, if you think about it that way, of revenue that is coming in. And it is showing up in the data, and it's not even released. Consider that. On YouTube, same thing. We get to see, even at the 12-month mark on YouTube, that's here, we get to see this happening, right? You get to see this happening. Okay, keep this in mind. 12 months ago, on average, Pulsex was, there would be 4 searches for Uniswap for every 1 search for Pulsex. As of the last 30 days, there are more searches for Pulsex on YouTube than there is for Uniswap, the largest decentralized exchange in the planet, doing over $1 billion in transactions a day. Let that sink in for a second, because then we have to understand what is going on here. We really need to understand this because nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is doing this. And I want to bring up a research paper that I was looking at the other day to put this into context and give us some data. This research paper was actually at my alma mater, the University of Rochester. And they took a look at the effects of transaction costs on trading volume. Do transaction costs affect how much people trade? And you're like, yeah, no fucking shit. Well, the research community likes to take things that are like, yeah, no shit, that makes sense, and then test them with data so they can say with more unequivocal doubt that yes, of course, right? And there's certain people out there that won't necessarily believe things because they don't trust themselves and their data, and they need to read a research paper before they believe things, right? Because I used to be more in that camp, right? And then I started thinking more, and that goes away. So, in this study, they were tracking stock between the Amex, NASDAQ, and New York Stock Exchange as they move around from one to the other. So you can take the same company, and it's just moved from one exchange to another exchange. With the fee structure being different, does the volume of transactions increase? The answer is yes. We find that higher transaction costs significantly reduce transaction volumes, right? Well, let's understand where we're currently at. We've got Ethereum. What would you say the average transaction volume is? Transaction fee for Ethereum. Because we got to understand the present to understand the data, right? So the data is telling us that this virus of an idea just came into the ethos of humanity's mind. Pulsex. 6 months ago. And it's already beating the largest thing out there in terms of the global search volume relative to this on YouTube. The second largest search engine. That, my friends, is interesting. And when you consider the effects that are taking place now between Ethereum and Pulsex, you'll get a better understanding of where we're about to go. We want to take a look at the transaction volume. The fees. We're going to talk about that for a moment. Then we're going to talk about ERC20s and PRC20s and the opportunity. Because you need to put all these pieces together, right? You need to put all these pieces together to get a better idea why this is happening, and a better question you can ask yourself: does the marketplace see what we see? Because we're looking at the data where everybody else is looking at opinion. Just a thought, right? Transaction fee on Ethereum. This is from Motley Fool. This is a service, fool.com. Ethereum transaction fees hit 6-month low, March 10th, 2022. They were at $2.51. I have never seen them at $2.51. So I actually pulled up Uniswap to see, hey, did I miss something? Because that article is not too long ago. And the fees currently on Uniswap for gas on Ethereum is $4.35. So this is crazy low, right? Well, what are going to be the fees for Pulse Chain? Actually, I don't like this. Pulse Chain on Pulsex, right? Because that's what people pay attention to. They're not paying attention to the fees necessarily. There's a small portion of the broader set of the population who pays attention to fees and will do things out of their way for fees, right? When it comes to DEXs, right? But a lot of them charge around the same amount. Not a lot of them. There's a big variety, but the bigger thing is Ethereum fees. Like that's the bigger problem. That's the bigger ethos of like what people talk about. Not saying that people don't talk about other things and do other actions. Completely agree. But the bigger idea is Ethereum fees. And if we assume that this is an abnormality or that fees are $20, because that's what they effectively have been for myself since I got into crypto, or thereabouts, $20, maybe a little bit less, right? Well, what happens when you have a 10,000x decrease in the price to do something like trade, where you go from $20 down to 20% of 1 penny? Because that's going to be the difference if you say the average fee on Ethereum, and there's going to be a lot of people who would argue the average fee is substantially higher than $20, right? Because there's plenty of people who've paid 40, 50, 60 plus dollars to do transactions on Ethereum, and they're like, this is not really like what it's normally like, right? So there's plenty of that out there too. And Pulsex has a 10,000x decrease in the cost to do something. What did we just learn or understand better by taking a look at this paper? That transaction costs have an impact on trading volume. What do you think you might potentially be able to infer if you used the gray matter between your ears? That the trading volume on Pulsex is going to be fucking stupid because of what we talked about a second ago that we haven't dove into yet. ERC20s and PRC20s. Who does a lot of trading? Right? People, there's traders out there, right? There's also people who run like hedge funds. There's also people who run like, our hedge funds are probably in the same category, depending how broad you want to be. People who do arbitrage, right? But anybody can do arbitrage. Like you can do arbitrage. I've done several videos on it. If you care to check that channel on how you personally can do arbitrage. It's not some fancy concept that you can't understand. It's fucking simple, and you can do it in the marketplace, and there's opportunity today to do it. Given what I said is true, because you can literally check the videos against me, what I've said. When Pulsex comes out, and it is the destination to trade all of the copies of Ethereum that were copied over to Pulse Chain and are now called PRC20s, there's going to be a stupid, let me rephrase that, there is going to be a fuck ton as a technical term, right? For those of you who like research papers, that's a technical term. Of volume. Because what do traders like? More shit to trade. And what do they like better? Higher or lower fees? Lower fees. So you get a fuckload more to trade, as in ERC20s are all getting copied over. So now if you want to see opportunity on Uniswap, you can take opportunity on Uniswap if you're a hedge fund. But you also have another network to trade all of the same shit you were just trading. But the fees are up to 10,000x cheaper. You guys need to understand what I'm saying. Like, this is going to be stupid. And you can see it in the data. We get to see it in the data, guys. If you're watching this, you're getting gold shit that nobody else is getting. Make sure you press that subscribe button and the bell notification and the share. Actually, that would probably be the most impactful thing. If you find value in this stuff and you're like, damn, more people need to know about this shit. It's insane. You should take a second. You should share this video with somebody you know. Think of that other person that you talk to in crypto, or that group that you're in that you guys talked about crypto. Take a second, share this video with them. Super helpful for me, and hopefully super helpful for them, so they can learn something and understand what is going on, because this is a gargantuan, another technical term there, for opportunity, right? This is monumental, whether it's the opportunity of just, this is not financial advice by any stretch of the fucking imagination. If you think this is, you're probably pretty fucking stupid. That Pulsex, in my personal opinion, is going to be, the token is going to be crazy over, I don't know, maybe the next 12 to 36 months. Oh my goodness. That's going to be banana ass shit crazy, in my opinion, because of that. So, appreciate you guys. If you found value in the video, make sure you also jump over to Twitter and say what's good. Give me a follow over there, because I have a bet with my buddy where he bet me I cannot beat his following on Twitter by July 30th. And if you listen to this video, you understand that you're hearing shit nobody else is talking about. You got value from that, and you want to hear more of that shit, but not necessarily in video form, in text form, or maybe have more of a conversation. Jump over to Twitter, press the follow button, retweet something. Got good shit going on over there as well. Also, if you like other content on YouTube, but maybe related to fitness or biohacking or steroids or SARMs or peptides or drugs or health or blood work, check out my other channel. It's coming up here in a second. Appreciate you guys. Also, last place you can check out is Instagram. I'm posting there regularly. So hopefully you check out multiple places in case the censorship gods decide to delete my shit. You can still stay up to date. There's also a Facebook group, but that was related to some of the other shit I do in fitness, so you can check that out. But I should have a Facebook group or a Telegram set up so that I can have more intimate conversations with you intelligent folks. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.